Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I think we're ready to begin. Just to repeat the earlier housekeeping points before I hand over to James Hawley, everyone has been muted on entry, and in order to keep the presentation within the 20 minutes, we will not be hosting a Q&A. If you have any questions, please feel free to email them to our host, James Hawley. We will provide his email at the end of the presentation. And without further ado, I will hand it over to James.
Great. Thanks, Dina. Appreciate that. Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on our latest construction webinar series. Today, we're actually going to cover a question that we often get asked. How can I win and compete in this war for good talent? Well, quite honestly, it's a huge question to answer. But today, I'm going to focus on really covering 3 key strategies that are actionable to get you on your way. We know how busy you guys are as well. So today, as advertised, we'll keep this presentation under 20 minutes, which anyone that knows me knows I can't do anything in under 20 minutes. So this is a major commitment, and it's a challenge I'm willing to accept. And we also think that that 20 minutes is a really good ROI, packing as much of the highlights as we can in for you guys today. As Dina pointed out, should you find yourself with questions, instead of trying to fit it into this webinar, we'll show you contact information at the end, and we'll be happy to provide really as much detail as you guys need. So a little bit about me. My name is James Hawley. My role here at Hayes is managing and growing our national business. I've spent about 20 years in the recruitment space, with 16 of those here. I'm really excited to be with you guys today and really share some of the info that I really hope helps your business. Okay, since I'm on the clock and 20 minutes goes really fast, I'm going to dive right in. So why is this topic so hot right now? I'm sure you guys feel the pressure within the talent market right now. So in a nutshell, 2/3 of you guys are already hiring. That's what you've told us, but it's a very tight labor market. Almost all of the people on this call and those that we surveyed say that you're struggling due to the skill shortage. To compound that, we expect about 6% growth rate annually within the construction market over the next few years. And all that's going to do is just make this shortage more painful to run your businesses. So how do you get ahead, or for that matter, even keep up? Well, I've broken it down into 3 categories with 3 tips in each that should at least give you a starting point. It may be tough to implement all effectively, so I really recommend just picking one of each category and focus on that to get you on the right path for now. So the first one is you really need to understand the market you're operating in. This may seem incredibly obvious, but let me explain. You know your market from a business perspective, delivering for your customers, and you are subject matter experts when it comes to how construction works. So the market I'm referring to is the talent market. You have to know what candidates really want, what they are being offered by your competitors, what pay is considered above or below market, and why they choose to stay somewhere or decide to leave. So ask yourself honestly, do you have a firm grip on all that market knowledge? If not, you're certainly not alone. We do this all day, every day, and it is a lot to keep up on. However, you're on this call, and that already puts you well ahead of your competition who aren't trying to get better. So the key areas to keep in mind here are, first, make sure you're paying enough for the most important roles you can't afford to lose, as it will cost much more to attempt to backfill and replace someone and all that knowledge that walks out the door. Number 2, it's not just about pay that matters. What we found in our research is top benefits will draw top talent. For example, vacation and healthcare are some of the biggest winners across the board, but other benefits like flex time, flex hours, as well as training do hold high spots. Also keep in mind, you're most likely have different demographics and generations working for you. So the baby boomers may still want a company car, but millennials don't really prioritize that benefit quite as high. Lastly, you don't have to research in thousands of places. If you want the most relevant data to your business, just grab a copy of the Hayes 2017 Construction Salary Guide. There are lots of salary guides out there. Just Google it. There's tons, but not a lot. In fact, I don't know of any that specifically focus on the construction market like we do. So yes, that's a shameless plug, but it's easy and we've done the work for you and it costs nothing. So I'll flash that up on the info at the end, and you can certainly request a copy if you'd like. So the second tip in knowing your market is staying up to speed on the latest hiring trends. For example, have you heard of blind recruitment? So this is a topic that we covered in our latest Hayes Journal, which can help break down existing biases to find the best candidate for your company. You might not realize that great talent isn't making it past that front door really due to this phenomenon. It also tells you what you need to know about digital disruption and how virtual reality is helping to hire people. And obviously, due to time constraints, we can't dive deep into these topics, but again, the resources are there. And the advantage of keeping up with new hiring trends like this is that you're relying on the data and expertise for your hiring process, not just doing what you've always done before. And in a tight talent market like we're in, using that outdated method and methodology means a slower hiring process and a smaller talent pool and a higher likelihood of missing out on that best candidate. So these kinds of sources can make sure you know what trends are out there and how they can impact your hiring process so that you're ahead of the curve on embracing these new and better approaches. So find sources that you can trust and see what makes sense for your business to use for your advantage. The last piece about knowing your market is really understanding the root cause of our shortage. So we do track this annually on the Hayes Skill Index, and this is a global index. And the U.S. has one of the worst talent mismatches anywhere in the world. What that means is that we've got the number of people that we need, but they have the wrong skill sets or training for those open jobs. So this is where employers, educators, associations, and the government do need to work together to help solve that problem. It's a collective effort. And anyone on this call can certainly do your part as well by taking an active role to partner with local schools, colleges, to really better align their curriculum towards those real-world needs. And what you get out of it is for investing your time, you get to pick the best new graduates who know that you have the training, also the support that they're looking for. This absolutely will not fix your hiring needs this week. However, in the long term, it'll make an impact a few years out. It's also not easy, to fix this type of, skills gap that we have because it's so big and large. But ultimately, if each business takes some steps, the actual cumulative effect will help everyone benefit for decades to come, workers and employers alike. So the second category that I want to talk about is really expanding your talent pool. So if you're only ever looking at the same group of people, then you'll quickly run low on candidates, and I'm sure you've experienced this of late. You need to find ways to grow that talent pool. So let's talk about how you do that. So one way to expand this talent pool is to make sure that you're looking at everyone, not just a section of that workforce. So in particular within construction industry, there's still a lot of room for improvement when it comes to diversity, especially in management and senior roles. So candidates often select where they apply or even don't apply based on whether they think that that company would hire them and make them feel welcome. So what you need to do is really showcase a diverse range of employees on your website and in hiring content so that women and other underrepresented groups do feel welcome. So take a look at your website and take some inventory of, if you were a candidate, what kind of impression, and is that going to welcome them into your doors. You can also join some community groups, associations, and other organizations that can connect you directly with those individuals. So we recently put together a gender diversity report specifically for the U.S., and it looks at ways to attract and retain more female candidates. So again, if that's something that your company is focusing on, then I highly suggest reading that. So the reality is that you also need to attract the millennials because they are now the biggest segment of the workforce. And as the oldest in this group reach their mid-30s and above, they're also starting to reach into those leadership positions. So our salary guide spotlighted specifically that segment of millennials, and we looked at recruitment and retention. What we found was that the millennials were more likely to end up in construction by fluke or chance instead of because it was a career opportunity that they actually focused on and targeted, compared with Generation X and baby boomers where it was the opposite. So to attract these millennials, showcase career opportunities in your company and in construction in general to really attract them, because they are ambitious and they are looking for opportunities. You know, they're just not necessarily seeing it based on what's out there right now. So the message just needs to be refined. Millennials are ambitious beyond just job title as well, so keep that in mind. So what you want to do is build a continual improvement for this group into your career plans so that it's more like a ramp as opposed to stairs. So millennials, they want a variety and they want to learn new things, not just a new job title every 3 years. So the last part of this section, there may be some talented construction professionals available outside your area as well, especially if you're in a particular competitive sector in a competitive region. So finding candidates may mean expanding your search to include other regions. If you work with a recruiter who has national reach, like us, look to tap into that pool as candidates move out of state quite often for job opportunities. Just make sure that you're offering support, including relocation, to bring them on board. So the companies that are winning in this way know that the investment to import can give them a competitive advantage and to capture that future hire. Not all companies are doing this, so if you do, you will stand out from the crowd. Don't only consider the U.S. either. Globally, there are great candidates with strong skills working abroad, but due to their local economy, they just don't have the work that the U.S. has today. So there are hoops to jump through going down this path, but partner with your recruiter to explore this option if you are struggling to find people domestically. So the third section is really about using all available tools. So what does that mean? So some of you on this call have been using the same way to hire for the past 10 years, maybe even longer. So the adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it, while applying to many things when it comes to finding a younger generation of worker, you're completely missing that large pool of qualified people simply due to not changing with the times. So there are new hiring platforms and other digital tools emerging every single day. It's tough for us to keep up with. you need to figure out which ones work for you. So first, really, what that really means is that first look at the social media, because that's going to improve your employer brand so that candidates know who you are and what your company is like to work for. So I would look at ratings like Glassdoor. So look at where you stand on that, because it's fast becoming where candidates go to decide if they're even going to consider a company. Develop some specific content about working at your company. So this is a great way to showcase specific programs or people, showing why candidates should want to work for you. And secondly, look at the digital recruitment tools such as LinkedIn Recruiter, Facebook Jobs, and Indeed to be proactive about finding candidates. So the value of these tools is that they target candidates where they already are. Let's face it, most candidates are not looking for a job right now. They're passive. But if an opportunity comes up, they will be interested. So we all spend a lot of time online, on social media, etc. So it really makes sense to target your recruitment efforts to the same channels where people are active today. So next, I recommend tapping into other networks wherever possible. There are 3 networks that I've highlighted here for you to focus on. The first is your employer's network. So your top talent knows other great candidates because they've studied with them, they've worked with them before. So studies have shown that employees who make referrals are more likely to be loyal to their company, and that those brought on through referral are more likely to stay for more than a year compared with people hired through job ads. So encourage employees to make referrals and reward those who are successful at it. The second network to use is an association. So I've highlighted a couple on this slide, but there are many more, of course. And depending on your hiring needs, you might join a local association or a trade group or less formal group through social media. So members of these groups are engaged, they're active in the industry, and they're an invaluable talent pool. Finally, I suggest connecting with graduate and alumni groups of local education and institutions within your area. So universities and tech colleges often have an engaged alumni base, and so they can send targeted communication to help you find construction management candidates with, say, 3 years of industry experience. And the last tool I'll mention is really finding and having a strong recruiter. So who can do all these things that we've mentioned for you, because it's extremely difficult to do all by yourself. So I'd be remiss if I did not share just a quick advertisement for what Hayes credentials are as a candidate for your business to consider. So we have more than 40 years of construction experience globally. We recruit for construction in more than 30 countries. We have construction teams across the U.S., so we're combining the best of local expertise along with extensive global resources. We use all the previous tools that I've mentioned, and so, these could be individually done per client, or sometimes we do them in combination. So whether it's knowing your market, finding diverse candidates, or using the best and latest digital tools, so your Hayes consultant can really streamline that process for you and make sure that you get the right candidate when you need them. So that's really all that we have time for today. Again, we promised a really quick hit, 20 minutes or less type webinar, but you're welcome to send questions to me. So the email address is up on the screen as promised. You can also grab a copy of the construction salary guide at the web address that's listed there. So I do hope that this session has given you guys a few areas to think about that you think would help your business compete in this very tight labor market and this war for talent. So with that, hope you guys have a wonderful 4th of July. Be safe, and thanks again for your time today, and we'll speak to you soon.